51 kilometers northeast of central Seoul, there's a site I haven't visited since 1993. To celebrate the second anniversary of this YouTube channel, I decided to head up that way and make a walk out of it. Well, 3 walks anyway. I don't have time to take off on a road trip, so I'm doing it in 3 stages and 3 videos, starting with this one, in which I'm taking you with me for a walk from north central Seoul to Uijeongbu Station, another place I haven't visited in a very long time. Hello there, it's a little after 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. I'm standing just inside Haehwamun, also known as Dongso-mun, one of the minor gates of the old city wall. Dongso-mun means the east small gate or small east gate. But even though this was a minor gate, a smaller gate, it was still a major entry and exit point into and out of the city during the Joseon Dynasty, because the road that passed through it was a major route between the northeastern part of the kingdom and the capital during the Joseon Dynasty. So I thought this would be a fitting starting point for our walk today, since we're going to be following, for a little while at least, the same route that so many travelers followed for centuries as they were headed to the same area that we are today. We are going to veer off the route just a little bit later on because, one, it's kind of dull to stay on the main road the whole time, and some of the side streets can be more interesting, but also because it's going to shave a little bit of time off of our walk as we get to the northern border of Seoul up near Dobongsan Station. So let's go. During the Joseon era, the gate would have been located just a little to the left here as you're looking at it. It would have been out somewhere in the middle of where this street is today. And the road, of course, would have been much narrower. You can imagine this would have been a bit of a rocky pass here. The level of the ground probably would have been a little bit higher, I would guess. One interesting thing about this street here, today it's called Dongso-mun-ro. It's named for the gate. In the 1960s, when this road was expanded, it was given the name Miyaro or Miyadoro. But the interesting thing is that if you type Miyaro into Naver Map, it will highlight Dongso-mun-ro. And I have seen a couple of signs pointing to the direction of Miyaro. There's a hill up here, and on top of the hill there's a park. And as you leave the park, there is a sign pointing you toward Miyaro. The early part of the walk is full of noteworthy sites that I talked about in other videos, like Miari Pass and the memorial to South Koreans abducted by North Korean soldiers as they retreated through it. The modern version of Giram Bridge, where South Korean troops made a last stand before the North Koreans captured Seoul. Above that is the elevated expressway, Nebu Sunghwanro, the Inner Beltway. Below it, the street named Jeongneumro, which today covers the stream called Jeongneumcheon. Giram New Town, one of the 3 pilot new town redevelopment projects the government announced in the early 2000s that produced a number of high-rise apartment buildings. The remnants of Miari, Texas, once the largest red light district in Seoul, and soon to be redeveloped. We're coming up on Mia Saguri now, the 4-way intersection. When I was in the Army, my first 2 years here, I was stationed up in Dongducheon at Camp Casey. And the Army had a bus service. You could catch a bus on base quite cheaply. I usually preferred to ride the train to Uijeongbu and take the subway from Uijeongbu to Seoul when I came down here, but sometimes I would ride the bus. And when we got past Uijeongbu Station and veered from the north toward the southwest here onto what is now Dongso-munro, I knew we weren't far away from our final destination. The bus would go over past Haehwamun. Of course, Haehwamun wasn't there at the time. It was demolished by the Japanese in the early 20th century, I believe, to build a streetcar through there. And it wasn't rebuilt in its current location until 1994. This is Dongso-munro now, by the way. We're no longer on Dongso-munro. We are now heading due north. One thing I really love about walking along the street these days is it very much feels like the 1990s. You've got these street vendors here selling not just street food, but clothing and all kinds of knickknacks, even pots and pans up here. Used to see street vendors like that all over the city, on streets now where there are none. Uijeongbu Station is behind us now. I'll note that for now, at least, we're basically following line 4 of Seoul's subway network. We started near Hansong University Station, and we're coming up now on Uijeongbu Station. It's going to be the next one. But before we get to Uijeongbu Station, I'm going to cross over to the other side of the street temporarily. We ultimately want to be on this side, but there is a back street right over there behind those buildings that I want to show you because I really enjoy walking through it. Right down this way. Look at this. You don't see many streets like this around Seoul these days with all these, what they call jutekji. These are private houses. Often there's just one family living in them, but sometimes these multi-story houses have been converted to separate apartments on each floor. I've lived in a couple of them like that, with staircases inside that are blocked off. But you just don't see so many of them together these days.
They used to be all over the place. And if you look here across the street, there is a house here. Looks like it's been connected to the building next door. But look at that first floor. I mean, it's just been transformed so much. There are several houses like that further up the street here with shops on the first floor. And here we go. Look at these residences. Some of them are still residential on the first floor, but many of them now have one or more shops. See the similarity in design. They're all very similar here because they probably all would have been built around the same time. But all around the city, when you would see houses like this, and any you still see today, they're all variations of a theme. Uijeongbu Station just up ahead here, and more street vendors. And with this, Uijeongbu Station is behind us now, and this is going to be the last subway station we see for a while. Were we to stay on Dobongno, we would come next to Uijeongbu Station, but we're not going to stay on Dobongno. Just before we get to Uijeongbu Station, we're going to veer off onto a side street, and we won't see any more Line 4 subway stations, no subway stations at all, until we get up by Dobong Station on Line 1. Suyu Market, Suyu Shijang, off to our left here. Cool little market. It's 11:30. What the heck? Let's go ahead and do a little walk through. Here is where we're going to leave Dobongno. It bends off in that direction over there. And Uijeongbu Station is just right there around the bend. We are going straight. We'll meet up with Dobongno again a little further to the northeast. I mostly want to stay on this side of the street, but for now we're going to go over to the other side because just up ahead there's another little side street that I want to show you. But it's another little street with a long, unbroken row of private residences.
그분은 진짜로 집에 이렇게 돌아다닐 때는 몰랐는데 진짜
We were supposed to go that way. But look at me, confidently walking in the wrong direction.
I realized as I was walking along that the street I was going down with all the interesting colors and architecture didn't look familiar. And that's because I took a wrong turn at the intersection earlier. Was it Gwangshan intersection, I think it's called. So we're just gonna go through this neighborhood here and make our way back in the correct direction. And here is the Uichan, the Ui stream. Off to our west is Uidong, and just in that area there's a great spot to start hikes, either in the Pukansan range or Dobongsan. When I hike Dobongsan, I like to start over there in Uidong and make my way east to Dobongsan Station. A lot of people start at Dobongsan Station and then come back down that way, but I prefer to start in Uidong.
I'll never let you go. promise to your mother. Turn around, let's turn on each other. Good idea, break a promise to your mother. Turn around, look back on each other. That's a good idea, break a promise to your mother. Turn around, look back on each other. Good idea. I remember the stupid things, the mood rings, the bracelets and the beads, nickels and dimes, yours and mine. Did you cash in all your dreams? You don't dream for me, no. You don't dream for me, no. But I still feel you pulsing like sonar from the days and the waves. That girl is like a sunburn I would like to save. That girl is like a sunburn I would like to save. She's like a sunburn.
Walton Harris Walker Street. Walton Harris Walker, wasn't he one of the commanders in the Korean War, one of the US commanders? I believe that's who it was. And there's maybe 8th US Army Command. And if I'm not mistaken, there is a monument out here to him, a memorial. I remember reading about it, though I don't believe I've ever seen it. You see Uijeongbu Station right there in front of us. That is an old station and it's really showing its age. All of the stations on this stretch of Line 1, this elevated stretch of it, they're old and decrepit looking. Uijeongbu. Late U.S. Army General Walton Harris Walker, site of the death, 1950, December 23rd. Here, huh? Actual site of death is at 596-5 Dobong Ildong. Yeah, I had heard this memorial was here, but I didn't know. Yeah, the first 8th U.S. Army Commanding General. Yeah, when I've walked up here before, I've always gone across that crosswalk to the other side. I've never walked up on this side of the street. He didn't die in battle. He died in an accident. 1889, December 3rd to 1950, December 23rd. I will stay here to protect Korea until the end. And I love how there are flowers there at the base of his memorial. Now that I think of it, it was it a Jeep accident? Is that what I'm thinking of? Yeah, I just looked it up. It was a Jeep accident. I do remember reading about that before. And I also just checked the time. We are right at about 3 hours. I'm not sure exactly what time I set out from Haehwamun. I was there a little before 10 and I had a little trouble getting things going. And I didn't leave until somewhere around 2:15 or 10:20, something like that. I'm not sure what stream this is. Yeah, so when I've walked to Dobongsan Station, not Dobong Station here, but the next one, Dobongsan Station, when I've walked there, it's taken me about 3 hours. So I'm moving a little more slowly today. Plus we had the detour through the market and my wrong way Jones moment.
Signs of life, but there's no
Naver map says I'm about an hour away from Uijeongbu Station. Said it's an hour and 10-minute walk. So I imagine it will be about 45 minutes, possibly. You drive through the countryside, you'll find places that do stone carvings like this. A lot of these are for grave sites. But not all of them. Oh, that looks nice. Quite rocky. Looks like it would be uncomfortable to walk on, but it's nice to look at anyway. This sign up here says Uijeongbu Station is straight on. Hello. Huh?
Are you creator?
Am I what?
Are you creator?
Yes, on YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. What?
Mike from Korea. M-I-K-E. You know how to spell Mike? Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.
유튜버예요?
Yep.
Hello.
Hello.
유튜버다.
Yep. Hello. I find this interesting because in Seoul, This used to happen all the time. If I was walking down the street past a group of kids, they would all start yelling, hello, 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 every single time I passed a group of kids. So it got to the point, if I saw them, I would take a detour, go around them, anything I could do to avoid them. But that hasn't happened in years. And since I've started this channel, I've mentioned a few things that used to happen in my life in Korea that don't happen anymore. You know, people coming up on the street to me and saying, welcome to Korea, or people telling me I'm the first foreigner they've ever talked to. But a few people who live outside of Seoul have told me they still encounter those things regularly. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised that here in Uijeongbu, when I pass a bunch of kids, they're gonna stop and say, hello, hello, or because of the camera. Uijeongbu Station is right up ahead here, not too far away, ahead and to the right. And it's only 2:45. It's just about 4.5 hours from Haehwamun to here with the wrong turn and the market detour. But here we are, probably about 15-20 minutes away from Uijeongbu Station. Not bad at all. But yeah, the subway used to terminate here. Line 1, this used to be the northern terminus. So to get here from Dongdaecheon, I would take the train on the days I didn't ride the bus. And it was an older train, right? It was the kind of train car, they didn't have air conditioning. They had these old fans up in the corner, and the seats were old, the big high back bench style seats facing each other. The doors on the rail cars, you could open them while the train was moving. No automatic system there. The little handle that you turn and opened it, and a lot of them just stayed open anyway. You didn't have to open it. So I would always stand between the cars and hang out of the door watching the landscape go by. And then I'd get here and I'd transfer to the subway on line 1. So Shinsegae department store here, Uijeongbu Station here. Let's get out over here and take a look. Musical Wonderland, Shinsegae. Ah, right, they're gonna have their Christmas decorations up soon. If they don't already, I gotta go to Myeongdong. Look, see the Shinsegae there. Look at that. BBQ chicken, Mom's Touch, KFC. Lots of chicken around. All right, well, thank you for coming along with me on this walk today. I hope you enjoyed seeing some neighborhoods of Seoul that you probably weren't familiar with, and also getting a glimpse of Uijeongbu. In the next video, we're gonna be walking, starting here, going north toward Dongducheon, and this is going to be completely unfamiliar territory for me. At this moment, I have no idea what the pedestrian infrastructure is like between here and Dongducheon. I'm pretty sure there will be long stretches of road without sidewalks. So I'm gonna have to really look into that and figure out the best way to go from here safely. But yeah, that's what I'm planning for the next video. So, assuming everything goes according to plan, then be ready for a walk to Dongducheon from Uijeongbu in a week or so. Until then, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.